Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another My 5 Wives review. This is season 2, episode 4, Bonds of Sisterhood. I was supposed to be up here earlier, but the way that the people keep calling me about these graduation tickets and everything else, I feel like I'm so behind. So hopefully the review is giving what it needs to give and there's not too much noise as I'm already hearing in the house. So we begin the episode with Rosemary checking in on Rhonda. Rhonda has had another mammogram because they wanted to see if everything is still in the same place as far as sizing of the calcifications that they previously found. So she wants to know if she got her results yet. She has not. She really doesn't seem that worried about them right now, though, because she quickly changes the subject to the adoption thing, because now she's back on it. Because Rhonda feels like because she's not working anymore, that she can now look further into adoption again. Girl, you just finished saying the last few episodes that you did not feel like you're spending enough time with your kids. How about you take the time to enjoy them first before you worry about adding more children to the plate and taking out more money from the family? Because let's be clear, if you're not working, although Brady has gotten this gig that has allowed it for you to be home, you're going to put an additional strain in this adoption process on the family and the bank, because this is going to be expensive. So she is nervous because them being polygamous, she knows more than likely is going to be a problem. But for her, this is something that she has always wanted to do. So she, in her words, is prepared to exhaust every resource in order to get it done. And I wonder at what cost, because I know she's not necessarily talking financially. I know she means like, I'm going to reach out to all the different agencies and all the different states in order to get this done. But what is that going to pull from you? How is that going to take away time from your children and your family? These are things that I'm thinking of. So Rosemary is willing to help her in whatever way she can. She hopes that it can happen, but she does understand and realize that this is something that's going to affect their family. So later on, she receives a call from her doctor. She's acting all stoic as she gets the call from the doctor. And of course, the production is going to play this thing up and they're playing the music. So she heads to Brady's office to let him know about the call regarding her results. And it's good news. They inform her that the test results look good. Her lump is still benign. It looks the same. It hasn't increased in size. Now, she doesn't say she's cancer-free. She has this way of still kind of being a little doom and gloom, because Brady's ready to celebrate, where she's like, we're not out to clear. We still got to watch. I still got to keep on getting it checked. And the fact that that has to keep on happening, as I said before, for peace of mind for me, I think that I would have to have it removed. But Brady is relieved. And I love to hear that this is something that has come up benign. I hope it continues to come up that way for her, should she decide not to remove it. So we see Brady at Robin's. Robin, we find out, has always had this dream to write children's books, and she's taking a creative writing class to help do that. Robin is talented, right? She's talking about how she's painting some stuff. And I'm like, oh boy, what's she about to do? Because I remember the Brady pillow that we saw that she made for the wives, and that was oogly. But the pictures that she drew of her son for this book are beautiful. The girl is super talented. I was very impressed, to the point where she said she was painting, but I was like, is that paint or markers? And then I looked and I was like, oh, she's really painting it. Like the girl is talented. So she's created these vibrant pictures of her son to tell his story in a book that she's writing. We find out that at one point, Robin was concerned that something was happening to her son, because he went from being this child that was really, really excited about school to then turning to this child who was often quiet when he came home from school, and he wouldn't say things about his day. And she could tell something was wrong, but he wouldn't tell her what it was. And it got so bad that she was worried that he was being actually, abused. It took some time But she finally found out what was going on. I think Brady said like this was going on for a year. I don't know if it took a year for him to kind of work through it or if it took a year of him struggling. But either way, it took some time. She found out through talking to him that he was being bullied at school, not just because he was smart, but because he is the child of polygamous parents. So she spoke with the counselor to figure out how to handle it all and to get him to open up to her. And Brady was saying like how when you find this out, you of course want to go to the school and you want to go off. And I'm gonna be honest, I think that I might have went off. But at the same point, you don't want your kids to be in a position where they get bullied even further. So it's kind of hard to handle it at times. So she wants to tell this story with hopes that it helps other kids and parents address issues like bullying and how to deal with it. But she has not asked her son yet if it's okay for her to share the story. Brady thinks that it's a great idea and he compliments her on how amazing her artwork is. And he feels like the book is going to be a huge success one day, that he can see the two of them, Trey and her, reading the book together and signing autographs and things of that nature. So we later see Robin go to sit down with her son, Trey, and she tells him that she is working on telling his story. The moment that she was in there talking to him, I could tell that he is a shy kid. You just can, like with some kids, you can tell. Like my boyfriend's daughter, she is the type of person who doesn't know a stranger, which sometimes, let's be clear, is dangerous. But she is very, very friendly. When she first meets you, she'll say, "Hi, how you doing?" Like she's just a very, very bubbly, outgoing child. Whereas with this young man, you can tell he's a little bit more timid, a little bit more shy. So she tells him, you know, that a lot of kids get bullied, and she's so proud of him because kids that get bullied sometimes turn into bullies, and that's not what he did. So she wants to write a book about how he was bullied in school, and she wants his permission to pursue it and get it published, but she wants it to be his choice since she does not want to upset him. He gives her permission to write the story, but something about it bothered me. I could see his apprehension, and y'all tell me what you think. I get sometimes you have to push your kids. I don't like that she asked him on camera. I halfway wish that this was the conversation they had prior to filming, because I wonder if he would have answered the same way. I hope that he didn't feel pressured, right? So later she and Brady discussed the book, and he has read it, and he's noticed that she has not used her son's name. And she explains like, look, you know, I want him to tell this story, but I also want him to feel safe, which is why I left his name out. I said, okay, I agree with that, Robin. I appreciate the fact that you are at least thinking about that, where you're leaving his name out so he doesn't feel like he has to make it be known that it's him if he doesn't want to. But then again, we're watching this show, so now if people watch, they're going to know it's about him. So Brady wants him to feel empowered. Robin admits that she got picked on and she wouldn't want people talking about it if she were in his shoes. She says she got called names. And I think she said junior high, she got shoved into the locker room. And even a girl that sat behind her would spit in her hair. That's assault in more ways than one. And I can't imagine going through that. I want to know where the adults were when this was going on, if she was able to confide in her parents, if they did anything, because it's very clear that she's still affected by what she went through. But then again, of course, they probably didn't do anything because they were raised in fear. Like they feared being arrested and things of that nature. So now that I think about it, I don't think that she ever had anyone advocate for her, which is sad. So we find out that Brady's dad wrote a book, From Illiteracy to the White House. I think he said he was an agent or something in the White House. I think that's dope. I halfway feel like I may want to read it. But he published it on his own. Robin doesn't want to ask him what he did. Brady's like, I know she's shy, so I'll talk to my father. I want her to be empowered. And if this is the way we got to start, then so be it. So we later see Brady call his father to ask him for advice on how Robin should go about getting her book done. And he's going to give Brady the number to his editor and some of that publicist information and things of that nature. He tells him, you guys need to make sure that you have samples ready to go because they're going to want to see it. Brady can't wait to help Robin get her book finished because he knows it's going to do wonders for her self-esteem. I love the way that he supports his wife's dreams, but I think that she's going to need a lot more than publishing a book about her son. I think that Robin needs to tell her own story. We'll get into it. So it's time for another adult meeting. This time, the focus is on their upcoming trip to see his parents. They wanted to rent some vans, but it's too expensive, so they're going to be caravanning instead. They decide that since Brady's mom is celebrating 5 years cancer-free, that they want to gift her with something, so they're going to do a quilt per Brady's suggestion. I hate that we now know that after this show, because Brady, as I said in a previous recap, has went on an interview to say that after the wrapping of this show was done, that his mother, in fact, was no longer in remission, that the cancer came back, and then she eventually passed from it. So I'm listening to this and I couldn't help but feel sorry, because we're probably going to see this celebratory thing where she survived, and then knowing in the back of my mind, like, you know, unfortunately, she later got hit with it again and she couldn't fight at that time. It's just, I hate it. I hate cancer. I do. I know y'all do too. And for those of you who are watching, because I know some of you are a part of the fam who are currently going through it, keep fighting, y'all. Keep fighting. You got this. My prayers, no offense, my prayers, my well wishes, my positive vibes are with you, because I can't begin to imagine, you know, what that is like. I know what it's like on the end of seeing a relative go through it, but I don't know what it's like in experiencing myself. And I have the utmost respect for those of you who have gone through this and who are still fighting various forms of cancer, and you still showing up and you doing what you got to do to make sure you are here. So keep fighting, please. Okay. Yeah, I just hate it. Next on the list is Taylor for the family meeting. Taylor is going to be going to Peru to explore the culture as well as do some community service projects for 2 weeks. So she needs to raise money. Brady suggests doing a car wash. Noni suggests doing a bake sale. So we later see the siblings making cookies. They're making lemon bars and peanut bars and brownies. And I think that somebody made a cake. Watching the kids make the cookies reminds me of why I don't eat from everyone, because I just kept seeing how, as they were putting icing and stuff on it, that they had the cookie like this and they were breathing all over the cookie. And I'm one of those people who, when I'm at a restaurant or something and somebody is serving my food, I try not to ask anything of anyone until that plate is sitting right in front of me, because I hate when people talk over other people's food, because whether you believe it or not, there's particles that are coming out. And I just, it's me. So it's sweet. I personally, if I saw them there, I might not have bought the cookies, but I would give a donation. I've done that before for lemonade and donuts, because I'm not a big donut person unless they're like the plain cake donuts from Dunkin' Donut. The old fashioned, yeah, give me that. I don't want all that other stuff. So anyways, I would give them a donation if I saw them. So they sat up by the store, nice of the store to allow them to do this. And they sold their baked goods, letting people know that it was for, you know, Taylor to go to Peru. They made $351, a lot of which was actually donations, because people just donated more than what they were asking for. She still needs to make like $600 more. So next they decide to do a car wash. They do it on a Tuesday morning. The siblings pitch in. The first car is Rhonda's, and they have a couple more cars after that, but they do not make a lot of money because they make $64 for the day. So they call it a wrap. we used to do car washes all the time at church, and we learned, because as I told you, I was part of Pathfinders, and we would go camping and stuff. So we used to want to raise money for our trips, because the more money we raised, the more things we were able to do, right? So we would have like the fundraisers of the donut sales and the candy and all that other stuff. But there was just something different when we all chipped in together and we did the car washes. And what we would do is we would do the car wash, and then we would do a fish fry, because what people could do is while they were waiting for their cars to be washed, they could sit on the side and enjoy eating some food. So, you know, we were getting donations from both ends, right? Anyways, there was not a set price for the car wash, but there was a set price for the food. But either way, because you weren't charging people to wash their cars, you'd have some people that might only give you $5, but then you would have others that would hit you off with like 20 or 30, or, you know, because the people were paying. And we were really like hand washing the cars. We had toothbrushes to do the tires. Like, we were not playing any games. I used to love washing cars when I was young. Yeah, not the case anymore. Even though I probably should get it detailed instead of putting it through the automatic thing. Because I think that those things, when you slide through them, I feel like one of them, and they'll deny it, I feel like I got like a rim kind of messed up before from one of them things. Okay, I'm on a tangent. Not currently, but in the past. Anyways, so, they're asking for $5 for the car wash. So they only make $64, which means, because at one point we hear the daughter say they had 4 cars, that some people still paid more. So Brady then suggests that Taylor should put on a talent show and charge people to watch. So we hear all these suggestions, like somebody playing the piano and somebody singing and puppets and a guitar. Carly is there, and they showed the ultrasound picture that she has, and Noni wants it to rub off on her. I'm just putting it there because it's something that happened, but it was real random for them to just make that a whole moment. But either way, she has a picture. I think the baby was like 7 weeks at this point, so the baby was really little. And Brady's just sitting there happy that he's in a space now in his business where he can provide for his family. And he's providing for Carly's family too, because he was able to employ her husband and things of that nature. And he's happy that they're in this place. So after Rhonda's scare, all of the wives have decided to do mammograms to make sure that they too are cancer free. So they make appointments. I don't know if they all go on the same day, but the way that they make it seem is like they were all close in the times that they went. So after their boobies are smashed and dashed, they go to lunch together to bond. They talk about how nervous they were and how awkward it was because they were taught not to talk about their body parts. This creates so much danger. I feel like because I experienced certain things as a child, I made sure that I had certain conversations with my son, because if anybody did anything to him that was inappropriate, I wanted to know. Because of the way that they are taught to kind of like be ashamed of their bodies, and in some polygamous groups that we read about, like, they're not even supposed to look upon themselves. I think in Warren Jeff's cult, they're not even supposed to look upon themselves in the mirror. Like, for a long period of time, it's seen as wrong. So you're taught to really be ashamed of this beautiful being that you are. And because of this, there are moments where they felt embarrassed or uncomfortable. So you got to think, they come from a space where you don't even talk about body parts to now being here where they have strangers helping them maneuver their body parts in this machine in order to get this done. So Rosemary feels like moments like these where they're all doing things together, where Rhonda was being vulnerable and sharing this experience, it makes them feel closer. She then lies and says that these women feel like they're her best friends. Nobody believes that, Rosemary, especially because you've already proven that you all struggle to speak with each other and you need Brady to be the middleman. So there's no way that you can think that I'm going to believe that y'all are besties for the restie, because you're not. It's not giving bestie energy, okay? So Rhonda tells all of them to let her know as soon as the results come in. She then lets them know that her results came in and she's good to go, that it is not cancerous at this point. It's still benign. They joke that they're going to give each other a celebratory high five when they come inside after they get the results. Like, if you give each woman a high five, then you know that she's good to go. So then Robin suggests that they do chest bumps and they laugh. They thank Rhonda for loving them and letting them love her. It's cute. It's a cute scene. I do think that these women, although they are not besties, that they do care about each other more than the others that we've seen, like the Browns. I think they may have some issues here and there, but it's not to the degree that we've seen previously. So Robin, Rosemary, and some of their daughters head to the craft store, Joann's. Yeah, I love me some Joann's. I need to go there now because I like to get my happy planner from them. I actually need to go look online to see if they have any sales because my stuff is about to be up, and I'm very much so a write them down in the planner type of gal. Now, I have my planner on my phone, the little calendar on the phone. It's not the same. Y'all, I like gel pens, right? I really, really like gel pens. So I have to have my gel pens and I have to have my color coordination. I have to write in my planner. It just brings me joy. It's what I do. Anyways, so they go to Joann's and they pick out fabric for the quilt that they are making for Brady's mom. We see that a picture of them back, like, I can't remember if it was 5 of them in the picture, but all of them had the same exact outfit on in the same material. And Rosemary said that for whatever reason, they thought it was cute to sometimes dress alike and make their own clothes. And that's what they did, but they're no longer in that space. So they decide that what they're going to do for the quilt is they're going to have the children they're going to trace the child's hands and put them on the quilt. And along with their name, I think I heard somebody say, as a representation of healing hands, which is a beautiful thing because you want to be comforted and they want that to be a reminder and comfort for her. They agree on what to pick out after they have a whole bunch of patterns and they get it done. We later see them trace the kids' hands and have the cutouts. It is a very, very thoughtful gift. I think I've said it before. When I found out I was pregnant, they weren't sure what I was having because my son used to ball up into a ball and like really, really tight and would not cooperate. At one point, they told me they think it was a boy, but they weren't sure. So I didn't know. And my aunt made me a couple of different things because she's just so talented, right? She made me a blanket, a quilt thing, but she crocheted this beautiful yellow, white, and green blanket. I still have it to this day. I will never, ever give it away. If it's a thing where I am to have a grandchild way down the line, I think I will give it to that grandchild, but I'm going to be honest, it might be a little struggle because it's just the fact that I know how much time my aunt put into that, and I know how much she cares about my son that she did it, right? So I think that that's something special for her to have, especially because it's going to have like her grandchildren up there and others. Who doesn't want that, right? So we get back to Rhonda. Rhonda is determined to adopt a child. So now she's looking outside of Utah. She's calling around, and whenever she gets to the part where she's a polygamist, they either shut her down or they hang up on her. Professionalism does not cost a thing. I think that is very rude that you hang up on someone just because you don't think that they're worthy of adopting a child. However, I also need for Rhonda not to be so flustered and so timid as she's making these calls because she struggles to even get her words out. Assert yourself. If you have to create a script, have something to refer to. I am one of those people who I get nervous sometimes when I'm on camera. I get flustered. I know you don't believe it, but really, if you watch when this thing started, when I first started reviewing shows to what it is now, like it took time for me to get a rhythm. And sometimes I still get a little anxious about things, which is why I don't always go, or yeah, I said always like I do it all the time. I very rarely have gone live because I get anxious. So anyways, she ends up, as she's making these calls, crying on the phone as she's talking to this person, and she's getting a little defensive saying, "You don't know anything about my family." She's getting a lot of no's and it's upsetting her. And I completely understand it, but that's not the way to get people to want to work with you. So she eventually finds an agency that is willing to send her some paperwork. They are out of Utah, of course, and the paperwork will let her know more of what the process will entail. She's so excited that you would think that she was told yes, but the person lets her know, like, look, this isn't a yes. This is just a step closer to getting, it. Robin sent a rough draft of her book to a publisher. She did that a few days ago with pictures and the writing. She's watering the lawn. She gets a phone call from the publisher. She's excited. So she's putting the thing on speakerphone, letting, the publisher know that my man is here. This is a representative from the company by the name of Molly Jaffa. The publisher quickly pops her bubble, lets her know that they're going to pass on the book because bullying is too common of an experience. It's too saturated at the moment. The topic is overdone. The fact that you can say that bullying is overly saturated, is too common of a topic, and it's still something that plagues a lot of people to this day, that there are children that have unfortunately unalived themselves because of bullying, and we're like eliminating a book that may help someone, is sad. I do understand what she's saying, but it's just the thought in my mind that bullying is too saturated. Wow. So Robin says she's deflated, but Brady gives her a pep talk and tells her, like, look, you're not going to quit. I want you to finish, and we're still going to print it. Rhonda fills Rosemary in on her chat with the adoption agencies about how people are hanging up with her, how people aren't really trying to help her. It's obviously not going to be the way that she thought it was. It's going to be rough because she doesn't think that bringing an adopted child into a polygamous family is any different, her words, than her bringing her own biological children into a polygamous situation. Yes, it is. It is always going to be different when you bring an adopted child into anything. It takes a certain type of person to be able to handle it, even when it comes to monogamy. I feel like that is something that they aren't thinking, right? That it will take more. And there's nothing wrong in it. I've said it before. There are people in my family who have been adopted. With that being said, there were things that was done, that there was therapy that was had. There was a lot of things that needed to be done to ensure that, some of the issues that may arise, like abandonment and things of that nature, or like the biological parent wanting to come back into the picture, would be addressed, or like the child wanting to know the biological parent. So there's a lot of things to consider that I don't think she's really considering. So Robin joins them and tells them about her call from the publisher. She lets them know, I didn't tell y'all about this, but one of the reasons I didn't tell you because I didn't know what was going to happen, but it doesn't really matter because they turned me down, and they didn't even know I was polygamous and they turned me down. We know polygamy has nothing to do with it because we've read many polygamous books on this channel. There are people who will still publish. So she says that she hasn't even told her sister wives about what she went through in her childhood. And I feel like that is yet another reason why she should tell her story rather than her son's. I think that this is more about herself, and y'all can tell me what you think and correct me down below. I think it's more about herself than it is her son. I think that there are a lot of wounds there for her, and she doesn't quite know how to deal with them, and she's kind of unknowingly utilizing her son to address some of the things, when I don't feel like this is really something he wants to do. I think this is something she wants to do because she's being empowered through him. But I want her to maybe tell her story. I'd be interested in hearing it. So they tell her that they're proud of her taking steps that she has, but she cannot quit. She has to finish the book. Later, we see Rhonda sit down with her kids, and she wants to make sure that they're all okay with the whole adoption thing. they think that it's going to be fun. They're good with it. They discuss how old they want the child to be and if they want it to be a boy or a girl. And she informs them that either way, whether it's a boy or girl or however old this child is, that they would have to go above and beyond to make the child feel loved. I do like that she said that. I agree that they need to make sure that the new addition feels loved. And I also feel like they need to make sure that the others do as well, because you don't want to focus so much on that child that your other children resent the new addition to their family because they're not getting the attention. It's the same thing like when you have a baby. There's an adjustment period that comes along with adding a baby to the family. You don't know if that the older sibling is going to be like, oh, yay, baby, my baby. Or if the older sibling is going to be like, no. I remember. I'll never forget it. I don't know why they thought this of me because, yeah, one of my aunts thought that I was going to be jealous of my baby sister when she was born. And I remember, I will never forget it. I was 10 years old when my sister was born. And I remember holding her and I felt like she was my little dolly. And I was holding her and my aunt kept looking at me thinking that I was going to do something to the baby. And it got to the point where my other aunt was like, no, she loves her. It's okay. She loves her. I did, because I kept looking at her and it's like, oh, this baby has my eyes. And, oh, this baby, has my mouth. It's just the things that you look at when you see a little baby. We have some differences because we have different moms, but she looks like, she's look like my sister. She's my sister. She's my little baby. Ooh wee. That's what I was thinking. But anyway, so you just don't know how people are going to react to the thing, right? Because, my sister comes, I'm not the only girl anymore. But it is what it is. I was happy to have a little sister. So back to the story. The paperwork arrives in the mail. Rhonda fills out the adoption application and she sends it back to the agency. We don't hear about anything that's on this application, but we just see that she mails it back. So it's time for Taylor's talent show. I don't think that they had an actual audience other than the family. I did not see any of the instruments that we were told that they were going to be played. To me, the cutest part of the talent show was that Noni's daughter was the disappearing bunny in the garbage can and how she held the little black thing and you can see her, moving the black thing to cover herself up and how the family played along. That was really, really cute. All the family participated. They then gather her, to count the money and she ends up still being $300 short. But Brady tells her that there's no way he's going to let her miss this trip, that he will make up the difference and pay for whatever else she needs. And that's the end. Cute episode. Y'all, if there's something that I missed in it, let me know. Put it down below. Today is what? Oh, I'm acting like this is far off because today when I'm actually recording this is Monday. So you'll see this on Tuesday. Yeah. So I was about to lie and say, today is Wednesday. My baby's graduating. But no, that's not happening yet. It's coming. I can't wait. I have a lot of mixed emotions, you guys. This is off topic. If you want to go, bye. But to the fam that stays, I have a lot of mixed emotions because my baby is growing up and he has made me so proud. He is graduating with a 4.2 GPA and he's a part of the National Honor Society and he has a bunch of different clubs he's in, and he was still is in martial arts, and he maintained a job, and he still did things in the community, and he was still active at church. And when I think about my baby and the statistics that could have happened because he's coming from a single parent household, I am just so immensely proud of him. Like, I am so grateful because there are children that don't make it to this point. And I'm not even talking about like the honor roll and all that other stuff. I'm talking about there are children that unfortunately have not made it to his age because of the way that the world is set up right now and because of tragedies and things of that nature. So it feels like a slight accomplishment to me to know that my son is going to be, walking across that stage. Yeah, anyways, to my fellow parents out there, because I know some of you have graduates that have already graduated this year, whether it be from high school or college, pick up yourself. Big up yourself. If you don't mean that, means like give yourself a hand. Get like, praise yourself, because you did it. You did it. Yes, our kids did the work, but we put in some work too, We stayed up late nights with them and made sure that they were okay and wiped their little noses and asked them questions as they studied and, did all that stuff. So big up yourself and just, enjoy the moment. Enjoy how great it is to have your kids just, make these accomplishments. And to those of you who are unable to do that because you've lost a baby, I am so sorry. And my heart is with you. This is a horrible way to end this. It really, really is. I love you, fam. Until next time.